Welcome to Spectator Sporting, sponsored by SpectatorSporting.com. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
You are watching episode number 5. Also, go on SpectatorSporting.com. Go look at the previous videos, previous clips, a lot of videos, a lot of articles written by my man right here. Big time site. We got a big show for you guys today. We're talking Eastern Conference and Western Conference NBA Finals. It's going to be spectacular, but we got to dwell on the past. Mm-hmm. We got to get it out the way. The second round is over. Everything is set in stone. Mm-hmm. But looking at the second round, there was a lot of interesting things that happened in the second round.
Right.
So out of these second round teams, what was your most surprising team in the second round?
It was the Boston Celtics, man. They a lot of people didn't have them beating the Bucks in the first round, all right? And them getting Marcus Smart back from that thumb injury, he doesn't average 20 points a game. He doesn't get 10 assists, but he has a lot of grit. He has a lot of toughness he's bringing to that team. And the Celtics, they are undefeated in the playoffs at home, 7-0. They're the most surprising team by far right now.
I absolutely agree with you. Boston, I'm one of those people who did not believe in Boston once Kyrie Irving went down. I thought they would go down in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I also thought they was going to go down against Philly. But time and time again, they have responded to every challenge, and their players have stepped up. These players who you don't know are really good players. Terry Rozier, Jason Tatum, we knew he was a number 3 pick, so that's understandable. But these players have really stepped up, and Al Horford has done a great job with his leadership abilities in this series. He's been making nothing but big plays all playoffs. So Boston Celtics are definitely the most surprising team.
Right.
What's the most disappointing team?
Most disappointing team to me is the Philadelphia 76ers, all right? They was on fire against the Miami Heat. They came into the playoffs with a 16-game winning streak, and their supporting cast really surprised me against the Heat, but then they just fell off against the Celtics, yes. All right? So you had 4 guys, J.J. Redick, Bellinelli, Ilyasova, and Covington. They combined to shoot under 30% from the three-point line in the second round against the Boston Celtics. Then they came to the playoffs leading the league in turnovers. That didn't stop in the playoffs. Game 3, J.J. Redick in the inner regulation, he tried to pass the ball to Embiid with under 10 seconds to go, turnover, and they end up losing that game in overtime. You know, when you go down 3-0 in the playoffs in the NBA, your toast is over with.
It's over. 0% chance of winning. I feel where you're coming from with the 76ers, but I don't want to say I want to give them a pass, but they are a young, inexperienced team, and it showed up in that second round. It showed up. And you got to give Boston a lot of credit for the way they coached. They made Ben Simmons pretty much try to become a scorer to beat them, rather than leave the open shooters up and open like they did, like Miami did for them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stuff wouldn't open up. But that was surprising. You're right. I didn't expect them to lose 4-1.
Right.
But Toronto Raptors. Now, it's not the fact that they lost to the Cavs. I expected them to lose to the Cavs. I think all of us expected them to lose to the Cavs.
Right.
But it's the way they lost. It was one of the most mental collapses I've ever seen in a playoff series. One game, they should have won game 1, and they was just shook for the rest of the series. This is a team that won 59 games during the regular season. 59. And if it was ever a year they was going to do something, it was going to be this year. And they go and they just get smacked. I mean, absolutely destroyed. Now, LeBron is the best player in the league, so it's no surprise, but the way they lost. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, these guys are your all-stars. These guys are the ones that's getting paid big top dollars, and they did not respond to adversity. And I think that's one of the things that's contributed to a lot of things that's happening right now with the Toronto Raptors.
Right. They like you said, they couldn't recover from that game 1 loss when they had 4 very makeable shots with under 10 seconds to go in the game, and you could saw Valanciunas, he just fell on his knees and he fell to the ground after all those misses, and that right there was just the moment of their season. That defined their season right there, and they never recovered from that, and they just don't know how to bounce back from adversity, like you said.
They don't, and playoffs, listen, if you in the playoffs, you're going to win a championship, or whatever you're going to do with advance, you're going to have to get through these moments, because it's going to be times where you go through this, where you lose games that you're not supposed to lose. It happens all the time. Even LeBron has went through it, where he's maybe lost a game he was not supposed to lose. But you have to come back from it. You have to let it go, and the Raptors just did not have that ability to let it go. With that being said, Somebody had to pay. And we know how the NBA is. They get rid of coaches like it's nothing.
Right.
And you can't get rid of all the players. So Dwane Casey lost his job. What's your take on that?
Well, Dwane, you know what? He got swept 2 years in a row by LeBron James, and so someone had to go. But the general manager also need to look in the mirror too, because he signed Kyle Lowry to that $100 million plus deal in the offseason. I looked at that sideways, like I don't know what they're doing right there. And so they really need to look at their team, look at the general manager. He's next. The general manager is next. All right, so he can blame the coach right now, but next season the general manager will have to go.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if Dwane Casey should have got fired. It's not his fault. I don't think it's his fault at all. I just think you can't coach mental toughness in players. Like they either got it or they don't. And like you say, the general manager picked these players. This is his squad. He signed DeRozan to the big contract. Not to say DeRozan don't deserve it, because he's been good. He's been a good all-star. He's been one of the top scorers in the league. Kyle Lowry, they re-signed him. And they thought they built up their bench. Now, I think the main reason Dwane Casey got fired is what I alluded to earlier. The fact that I don't think it was the fact they lost to Cleveland. It was the way they lost.
They got swept.
And last year Cleveland team had a healthy Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving when they played them. That was a much more talented team. Right. That they was facing with the Cavs. So this year, when you look at you come off that first round series. And the Indiana Pacers pretty much had Cleveland on the ropes. Right. You would think the number one team in the East would at least be able to win a couple games. But when so I just think I think that collapse, that mental collapse by the players, and right or wrong, the general manager is putting it on the coach for the players not responding to a little adversity. He's blaming the coach for it. But I think in this offseason, there's going to be more changes to come. Don't be surprised if Kyle Lowry and DeRozan do not be with Toronto next year.
Wow. Yeah, they're making the coach a scapegoat right now, but they're going to have to make some roster changes.
Absolutely, because guess what? Philly's coming next year. Boston's going to be fully loaded. Milwaukee's going to be better. So this might be it for Toronto. It might be time to really shake it up, not just with the coach, but the entire roster, because this team cannot get no better, and these other teams in the East are getting better. You're watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. When we come back, we're going to have an NBA Finals preview. We'll be back. Welcome back to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
Make sure you go to SpectatorSporting.com to see previous shows, clips, and also articles written by my man. By the way, we on episode number 5, so we got plenty of material for you to go on there and look at. NBA, Western Conference, and Eastern Conference Finals, we got some monster matchups. Right. And this matchup right here is must-see TV. I'm glued. I can't wait. A lot of star power. You talk about Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden, Chris Paul, Clinton Capella, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I mean, this is like a competitive, super competitive all-star game. What's your thoughts on this series?
Yeah, I mean, you got the number 1 seed against the defending NBA champions, and so that's huge right there. Yeah. Now, I look at it where you have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry, and Clint Capella, the Beard, and CP3. Those guys can cancel each other out, but then you got this other guy, KD, and it's just, I don't see how the Houston Rockets are going to match up with him. What they gonna do? Put Trevor Ariza on him? They gonna put PJ Tucker on him?
PJ Tucker's probably gonna start off with the assignment.
Yeah, PJ Tucker. So I just look at the Kevin Durant factor, man, and I say the Warriors got the edge in this series.
I agree. I got the Warriors. In order for Houston to really to do something, James Harden, he's the MVP of the regular season. Let's just give it to him. He's gonna win MVP. He's got to be MVP. James Harden he was able to get away with having a couple not so MVP type games against Utah. Right. Against Minnesota. Right. Can't do it this series. You gotta be James Harden. You gotta be regular season MVP James Harden every night. It could be no drop-offs. It could be none just standing around. Not what happened last year against the Spurs where you didn't move. It's James Harden that's gonna have to really show up, and also Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is gonna have to make his threes. He's gonna have to be that third scorer for them to even remotely have a chance in the series.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be on fire. Houston gonna have to be on fire the whole entire series. They gotta win those first 2 games at home. Those are crucial. If they lose one of them games, they're not winning the series.
And they gotta stop. The one thing I don't like about what Houston did, and even though they won a lot of isolation. You see the Chris Paul or James Harden. They got to move that ball because that isolation basketball does not work against Golden State. And like you say, I'm going with Golden State for the simple fact, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, to me, is the second best player in the league right now. He's the most unstoppable offensive machine in the NBA, and I just think he's going to be too much for the Houston Rockets. But it's must-see TV, and it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a lot of scoring, a lot of trash talking. I can't wait.
I got the Warriors in 5 games. How many games you think is going to take them to win?
6.
6 games.
I think Houston will get 2. I think James Harden and Chris Paul will find a way. I like Clinton. I like the matchup. The one matchup I do give Houston advantages is inside with Clinton Capella.
Right.
I think Clinton Capella will give Draymond and him some problems.
Okay.
And I think that will be a matchup that Houston can take advantage of with his athleticism, the way he runs the court, him blocking shots, him being a rim protector. But with that being said, I got Golden State 4-2 in 6. Gonna be a great series. It's gonna be entertaining basketball. Eastern Conference Finals. Welcome back. The same rematch. Nobody thought this going into the Eastern Conference Playoffs with Kyrie Irving hurt, Gordon Hayward. But we're back at it again. Cleveland had a bunch of roster changes. Both of them went through mass roster changes.
Right.
But they're both back. What are your thoughts on the Cavs versus the Celtics?
Well, Kyle Korver, he's on fire. He's shooting 46% from 3. J.R. Smith, he's on fire as well. He's shooting 41% from 3. So if they can keep that up, that'd be nice. And also, Kevin Love, when you don't switch screens with Kevin Love, you better find a way to get through that screen. And so if you want to be switch happy, Love is going to take you down in the post. He's going to get and ones on your little guards and little small forwards. So people like Saturday Night Live was making fun of the Cavs supporting Cavs and everything, but those guys are good. They're good enough for LeBron and his crew to get to the NBA Finals once again. Absolutely, I agree with that. Especially in the East. But I'm looking at this matchup. Now, I'm picking the Cavs. But I'm looking at the matchup from top to bottom. You would think it's a matchup Boston could take advantage of. You got to make Kevin Love play defense. You got to make Kyle Korver play defense. Some Toronto just did not do. You got to make them play defense. You got to take advantage of that matchup. You got when the weaknesses that the Cleveland have, I don't see nobody in the East taking advantage of them like they supposed to. You got to take advantage of those weaknesses because LeBron is just such a tremendous player. He's going to make up for a lot of things that's wrong with that team. There's no question about it. But when you got Kevin Love, what happened in Toronto too, we alluded to it earlier, Kevin Love showed up. And once Kevin Love starts playing, everything else falls into place because now it's just unstoppable. Kevin Love's hitting threes, he's posting up. You gotta contain Kevin Love. You cannot let Kevin Love have a big series. And Rozier, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you guys gotta keep playing basketball. They gotta win their matchups. Now, Boston is a very deep team and they have great coaching. Any chance for the Celtics in this series? They have a chance. They definitely that deep. Like they have the Morris twin, Jaylen Brown, Tatum. They can throw all them guys at LeBron. Marcus Smart, he's a tough guy. He's mentally strong. He's not like the Toronto Raptors that's going to run away and hide and just choke under pressure and stuff like that. Al Horford, he's a great leader. All right, so they have a nice squad. And Rozier, if he can keep playing like he's been playing in the playoffs, but I just, LeBron James is intimidating and he's dominating these players in the East. And I'm just waiting for a team to just overcome, but I'm picking Cleveland in 5. I just feel like Rozier is going to cool off and, somebody's probably going to get hurt or something. Man, I got Cleveland in 5 games. I got Cleveland in 5 as well. Just call it what it is. LeBron got these players in the East shook. This is what it is. He got them shook. They scared of him. The minute he started going off having a good game, everybody collapses against him, and that's just that is a compliment to LeBron James. That is the greatness of him. That's why he's gonna be on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. But he's got these players, he's got these teams in the East absolutely shook, and I think it's gonna happen again. Brad Stevens was a good coach. They're gonna be saying something different probably at the end of this series. Right. So yes, I got the Cavs in 5. Hopefully we see a good series. Hopefully Cavs, the Celtics show up and play and make it a great series. But we both think it's going 5. Right. When we come back, we got a couple opinions to share. You're watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. The Cowboys cut the $12 million a year man, Dez Bryant, a couple of weeks before the NFL draft, and he still hasn't been signed. Dez Bryant has not played like a franchise player in the last 3 seasons. However, he won't turn 30 until November, and there's a few teams that should attempt to to resurrect his career. The 49ers' leading wide receiver last season was track star Marquise Goodwin, but Jimmy Garoppolo can use a big target in the passing game. The Redskins' top wide receivers are slot guy Jamison Crowder and newly signed Paul Richardson from the Seahawks, but that won't be enough to compete in the NFC East. Don't forget about the New England Patriots, who have a history of signing high-profile wide receivers like Chad Johnson and Randy Moss. New England shocked us by trading their best wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, to the LA Rams, and they lost Danny Amendola to the Miami Dolphins in free agency. They can use Dez Bryant.
Sometimes we get so enamored with superstar players and it's just the star players, but we don't recognize the whole process of building a team. And one team I got to give credit to is the Boston Celtics. Everybody thought they were going to be finished with Kyrie Irving got hurt, with Gordon Hayward. But the fact that they are able to be in the Eastern Conference Finals gives a lot of credit to Danny Ainge. That trade he made with the new Brooklyn Nets really set them up for the future. You get guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both number 3 picks, Terry Rozier, first round pick. What we have all underestimated was how talented the Celtics really are. And even if they lose to the Cavs this year, I think this will be the next dynasty. Yes, the Boston Celtics.